Welcome to the Davidson Football Coaches Corner, powered by J.J. Wade and Associates. I'm your host, Jack Benjamin, and I'm thrilled to be joined by the 20th coach in the history of Davidson football, Scott Abell. Coach, great to have you here.
Thanks, Jack. Good to be here.
Let's get right into it. If there's a man ideal for turning around a program, it certainly is you. You've done it at the high school level. You transformed Washington and Lee most recently into a national powerhouse. What's it going to look like here at Davidson in terms of the rebuild and the turnaround?
Well, I appreciate that compliment. It's one, we're real excited, and I think in any situation when you're making change, right, and you're creating a culture, it starts with people, and for us that started with our players first and our staff, and getting everyone on board, getting everyone excited, and really laying the foundation for future successes. And I think we had a great offseason that has led us here to our week one.
You've talked to me about changing the culture of the program. What's that going to look like?
Well, first it starts with, a collected group of people, and that's not just your football program. It's your administration, it's your gridiron club, it's your alumni group, all wanting to see change. And, Davidson College and the great support out there has decided that this is important, and they wanted to see change, and that's why myself and our staff are here. And then it starts in the locker room, building a brotherhood amongst the players, so there's accountability and trust there that will hold you tight through the good and the bad times.
You mentioned your staff, and obviously you're new here, but bringing some familiar faces along with you. Having a staff of continuity, you've talked to me about how important that is. Tell me about that a little bit, and having some familiar faces on board with you.
Well, certainly. Well, I do believe that. I think whenever you're making a change and you're building something, it's important to have people around you that understand your philosophy, understand your beliefs, and then are committed to see that through. And at a school like Davidson, where academics are at the forefront, that it's really important that we work hard to develop our program and develop our athletes. Well, the best way to do that is to continue to have the same people around them day in and day out, year in and year out. So when bringing the staff here, one of my top priorities was trying to find people that wanted to be here, that wanted to see this change as I did. And I'm real excited about our staff and the men I've brought here to lead our program.
Davidson fans are certainly going to be in for a treat this year offensively, watching a very unique offensive system. Tell us about it a little bit and what fans can expect.
Yeah, so we're tagged as a spread option offense. I'm not sure that's really it does it justice, but we will be a triple option team out of the gun. It's really what I've hung my hat on as a coach over the years offensively, and it's grown and it's changed from year to year according to our personnel, but couldn't really be more excited about where we are there. And some of my previous stops, it's maybe taken a little longer to get to the point I believe we're at right now, and that really excites me. How our guys have bought into it, the personnel that we have here to run our system, and I'm real excited to get on the field and do it for real.
You talk about personnel, you're a heavy run team, and the key thing you need is a good running back. You've certainly got one in Wesley Duggar, a first-team selection in the Pioneer League a year ago, over 1,100 yards. And I understand you tried to recruit him to come to Washington and Lee. He chose Davidson over you guys, but you've got him now. What's it been like having him on board and talking with him?
Oh, without a doubt. I being in Virginia and Wesley being from Richmond, I knew all about Wesley and trying to attract him to W&L certainly a couple years ago. He chose to go bigger than us at the time, and I understand that. But what an exciting thing for our program to have a running back of his caliber in the system already upon my hire. He is real excited, I think, about the change and what it means for him, and the offense. And he's looked great in camp. What most people don't talk about a lot is, Wesley in his freshman year campaign, as good as it was coming off a really bad knee injury his senior in high school. So for him to have the kind of year he had last year is really, what a compliment to him. It tells you about his work ethic, his commitment. So, man, I can't wait to see what it looks like now. Another year removed from that, completely healthy, without a knee brace on. We're real excited for him.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Senior defensive lineman Clay Robinson will join us next. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. We're joined now by senior defensive lineman Clay Robinson. As we continue on here, Clay, senior season for you now, but talk to me about the offseason and the team in camp. How's the vibe been so far?
Well, the vibe's been great. Come off a great offseason as well. Whenever there's a coaching shift, you're kind of weary of what's going to happen in the locker room, how that's going to transition. And once we all met Coach Abell, I knew guys that were on the kind of committee to find them. And immediately when it was announced, I had like 2 or 3 guys come up to me and they were like, he was my number 1 pick from the beginning. And I knew right there that it was kind of a majority in the people that wanted Coach Abell to be here. And then with the team, as soon as we met him, we were all right behind him.
For you, your senior season, you've been a leader on this team in the past, but now being a senior with the other senior classmen, what's the message from you to the other guys, and how has it been growing into that leadership role?
One of the greatest things about being a senior captain was how I kind of never thought of myself as one coming out of my freshman kind of sophomore year. Being in high school, and almost everyone here was kind of the top guy at their high school, and then you come in, you kind of get a culture shock, like I'm gonna have to work. And the captain role was almost just like brought on to me. And just how I think I carried myself, I think I lead by example, to whereas I wasn't like actively pursuing, I wasn't going around saying I'm going to be a captain this year. I kind of just held myself to the standards that I want to be held at and I want to hold my teammates at. And it kind of just fell into me, and I've embraced it with open arms. I think I've tried to be a great vocal leader on the team, and then also just get my work done and see guys, and they get to look at me at how I hold myself. So I think I am a good role model in that sense as well.
Well, Clay, I really appreciate your time here. When we come back, Coach Abell will talk to us about the Week 1 matchup against Brevard. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. We're joined once again by head coach Scott Abell. Coach, getting ready now for Week 1 against Brevard. Tell me about Week 1 games. You've had a lot of them in your career. What's the mentality of the team, and how do you prepare them for that first game?
Well, Week 1s are great. Everyone's extremely excited and around the country, right? No one's played a game and everyone's undefeated. And, I think as a coach, it's important to really kind of manage the emotions of going into Week 1, and for us here, especially this year, as excited as everyone is, I think it's important for us to really manage that so we can execute at the level I think we're capable of executing at.
Brevard's a Division III team, but historically they've had a pretty prolific offense, a big passing attack. What types of challenges do they present to you guys?
Well, they were a scholarship program, 2 years ago, and decided to drop scholarships and drop down. And so they still have a few of those scholarship athletes running around, and so they do have some really talented young men out there that we have to defend, and we have to really be focused on what our jobs are. We're real excited about the opportunity and just really ready to get our cleats in the ground and ready to play football.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. That will just about do it for us here on the first edition of the Davidson Football Coach's Corner. Again, don't forget to come out and support the team as they take on Brevard College Saturday at 7 o'clock. For Coach Scott Abell, I'm Jack Benjamin. Until next week.